Maze raised her onyx eyebrow even higher. Why would he go to war with the council? She asked, not knowing if she wanted to know, or if she would have fun taking part raising a little hell. Don't worry about if for now. He will gather what he needs for the years to come. But keep fucking Danzo away from my son. For that bastard wants to turn him into a mindless weapon, to only serve him and no one else, said Kushina as she frowned at that thought. Maze nodded her head to this. I will never allow him near our little prince, said Maze as she grinned. This just means I'm going to be having fun while I'm there. Lucifer grinned at her. You should meet Ibiki and the others. They will love you, he told Maze. All right, I'll look the man up. But I am here to report that the angels are finally ready for this damn thing, said Maze. About damn time. They took 3 human years and 3,000 hell years getting everything down. I was slowly beginning to believe that they will never learn anything, and I was going to go up to heaven myself and get shinobi to come and help with a lot of the shinobi here in hell to help them or even replace them, said Kushina, a little annoyed with the angels. Lucifer smirked at his crazy wife. Just get them and hurry up and get to the village, he told Maze as she took everything, and sealed away Naruto's and Kurama's scrolls, and put the others away. Very well. See you guy later, said Maze as she left the office. I hope everything goes well, said Kushina as she looked back at Lucifer. So, do it? I hope those 3 fools can handle themselves. I'm not worried about Maze and the others, for they know how to handle themselves. But my siblings are just a bunch of morons, said Lucifer with a sigh. Chapter 4. Kurama sat at the dining room table smiling at Naruto as he played with his slice of birthday cake. Tsunade sat across from Naruto with a smile on her own face, as Jiraiya had Ma and Pa sitting on his shoulders, watching the young tadpole. Naruto smiles and giggles as he takes a handful of cake into his mouth. As he smiled, looking up at Kurama. Rama, he said as cake flew from his swinging hand. Yes, Naru, he asked with his own smile. Milk peewees, asked Naruto as he saw his small sippy cup. Kurama chuckled as he helps Naruto drink some milk. He is growing fast, said Ma as she smiles down at the little boy. That he is Ma. Soon he will become our summoner as his father was once, said Pa with a smile. Jiraiya just nodded his head as he listens to the 2 toads talk. He looks so much like both his parents, he thought to himself. Village gate. At the village gate, Maze and the others walked up with black hoods pulled up. She looked at the Hyuga and Nara that sat there in silence. State your business, said the stolid Hyuga. Maze pulled her hood back and glared at the pale-eyed man. We are returning from a long S-rank mission, she told them as she tossed them a small scroll. The Hyuga caught the scroll and looked it over and turned to the sign-out log and found the team and signed them back all in. Hokage-sama will be accepting your group, he said as he glared at Maze. Maze winked and blew the man a kiss as she turned to the others. Come on, let's head to see the old man, she told them as they all walked into the village. The small group made their way, though the village streets as many looked around. The angels watched the villagers, as the demons just smirked as they watched a few pass them. After a few minutes, they had made it to the center of the village, and there was a large tower before them. This was the Hokage Tower. They entered the building and made their way up the stairs. Before them was a young woman sitting at a desk before a large double oak door to her left. May I help you? She asked. We are here to see Hokage-sama, said Maze as she glared at the woman before her. I'm sorry, but Hokage-sama is busy, said the woman with a smirk. Maze arched her eyebrow at the stupid woman. The Hokage needs to see us, for we have returned from a SS rank mission, and anything you say doesn't mean shit to me, she told the woman. The woman glared back at Maze. I don't give a damn. You're not getting in to see him, she growled out. That was her biggest mistake she had ever made. Body flow, thought the double doors as Maze as growling and holding one of her many knives. Bitch! You will not be stopping me from seeing Hokage-sama. She growled out at the fallen woman as said woman slowly pulled herself up into a sitting position. Sarutobi sat there smoking his pipe, looking over a stack of paper at the sense before him. Clearing his throat, he looks at them. What is going on here? He questions the two women as the others stand at the door, as Maze was getting ready to attack once more. Hokage-sama, we have returned from our long-term mission, and we have gathered information that not even Jiraiya has even caught wind of, said Trixie as she grins at the man and pulls out the scroll from Maze's bag and hands it to the old man. Sarutobi took the scroll and opened it and looked it over, and his eyebrows have raised even higher as there was information for Akatsuki. A group that was slowly building with S-rank criminals, and one of the reported members was Madara Uchiha. A chill ran down the old man's body. He looked over at Maze. Maze, that is enough. Tell me how you got this information, demanded Sarutobi. Maze stopped her slow stalk and looked over at the man. A man claiming to be Madara approached our little group and asked if we would like to join his little group of criminals. I questioned him about what the goal was, and he told us that he was going after the tail beast. That meaning my so-to-be sister-in-law is in danger, she told the old man as a frown married his face.
Finchy.
With a deep sigh, he looked at the small group. I hate to inform you, but your brother and his wife died 3 years ago, he said as he raised his hand to stop anyone from talking. Their son is still alive and is being raised by Kushina-chan's brother, Kurama. But I will feel much better with you there with him, making sure that young Naruto will grow up a loyal ninja to our village, he said with a sad smile. They looked to each other and nodded their heads. Where are they staying? Asked Maze, as she already knew, but she had to play the fool and worried sister of the late 4th Hokage. They are staying at the Uzumaki compound, said Sarutobi as he dismissed them all. 12 years later. It has been 15 years since the Kyuubi attack and the birth of young Naruto. Said teenager was standing in the middle of the training field of his family compound. He was standing there panting heavily as he was glaring at a young girl before him. Come on, Naruto-chan. You can do better than this, said Trixie as she taunted him. Naruto closed his eyes as 2 wings sprouted out of his back, one black and one white. He cupped his hands together and a golden glow was coming from his hands. Heavenly starlight, said Naruto as a wave of golden stars shot from his hands. He had a strange bloodline that he didn't need to do hand signs for his attacks. But that was just the tip of the iceberg. Trixie's eyes widened as the wings had popped out of his back. She turned her head to look at Amenadiel, who was looking at the boy with wide-eyed as well. How can this be? He questions as he walked over to the boy. Naruto fell on his ass as he felt a weird weight on his back. What is happening? And why are you guys looking at me that way? He asked. Just then, Amenadiel unsealed his own wings for Naruto to see them. Naruto looked at his uncle with wide eyes as well. There was wings behind the man. Naruto, you have somehow managed to awaken your angel devil blood, he said with shock-laced voice. Naruto felt behind him and felt his wings. What the hell am I going to do now? He asked in shock of what happened. We will train you to use them. Nothing has changed, said Amenadiel. Naruto nodded his head to this. Sakuma walked over to them as he held the shadow clone of Naruto with wings as well. It appears they all sprouted wings like the original, he said as he looked at the boy. Sakumo-sensei, why didn't you let my clone pop? Asked Naruto as he saw the clone was passed out from his training. It would have overloaded you even more than if I did allow him to, said Sakumo as he studied Naruto. Naruto nodded his head to this as he falls backwards. His wings still out and behind now under him. This is too much. My father is truly Lucifer Morningstar, the fallen angel who is the king of hell, and my mother chose to go with him after she died, he said. Stop your bitching. You have class in 30 minutes and today is the big day, said Maze as she stepped out of the shadows. She had to attend a council meeting along with Kurama, for they are the respective clans. For Naruto need to be a chunin to attend them, and he was just going to finish his time at the academy. Kurama followed behind her, looking pissed off. Those bastards! I should have just ended them all while I was there. It had saved me a lot of time and grief, he growled out. Everyone turned to look at the two new arrives. What happened, sissy? Questioned Trixie as she walked up to Maze and hugged the demon woman. Maze glared at nothing. The civilian council has let it leak out that Naruto is the jailer for the Nine Tails, she said with anger and rage. It appeared to be one last gift from that bastard Danzo, who had several sleepers in the civilian council, said Kurama. Sakumo raised an eyebrow to this. How was this possible? I killed that bastard when Naruto was only 5. He questions. It appeared he had a time delay seal on a couple of those fools, and it was to trigger on graduation day, said Maze as she wanted to dig the man back up and kill him over again. Well, there isn't anything we can do about it now. I just need to hide these wings and get going after eating something, said Naruto. He was taking this better than any one of them could accept him to. Academy. All the clan children and a few civilians all gather into the classroom. Naruto sat in back with his back to the wall as he watched his and Sasuke's fan clubs fight with each other. Are they ever going to stop and take being a shinobi more serious? He asked to himself. I don't think they ever will. Not until they have that one mission, said Kurama as he was laying out in the academy training ground enjoying the sun on his skin. Shikamaru walked into the classroom with Koji right behind her. She went to her normal seat next to Naruto and Choji took the sit next to her. Naruto looked over and smiled at his two best friends. Hey guys, he said as he watched Ino make her way up to them as well. Hey Noru, said Shikamaru as she smiled at him. There was a slight blush on her cheeks. Hey Naruto, said Choji between bites. He was eating a new flavor of chip this morning. Wasabi BBQ. Ino walked up to them. Hey guys, she said to her friends. How's it going, Ino? Asked Naruto with a smile as well. With a sigh, Ino sat down in the chair a row below her friends. Not good. Sakura thinks I still want Sasuke and every time I tell her I don't, she says I'm lying and trying to lower her guard. She told them. Troublesome. Doesn't she see that he likes guys? Said Shikamaru with a smirk on her lazy lips. Everyone laughs at this. True. He was checking me out yesterday while we all ran laps, said Naruto as he shivered. The small group of friends laugh even more as they see Hinata enter the classroom and walk over to her friends. Hey guys, she says as she sits down next to Ino. Well, enough about the team. Is everyone ready for today? Asked Naruto as he grinned at his friends. They all nodded their heads. Today was the big day. The day that made their dreams come true. Chapter 5. Flashback. It was the eve of Naruto's 5th birthday when Sakumo felt several familiar chakra signatures. Quietly and quickly he slipped out of his bedroom. But he still held his bottle of sake in hand, just in case he need to play the fool. Just outside of Naruto's bedroom stood 3 figures. With the faint flicker of Naruto's nightlight, one could see that they had on white masks with Nin on them. These are Danzo's personal foot soldiers. They had a mission from their master to take a poor helpless child from his bed in the middle of the night. Something these bastards did all the time. Rounding the corner, Sakumo grinned to himself. Really, you old bastard? You're finally making your move on the boy," he thought to himself as he played the part of the drunker uncle walking down the hallway. "Take one down and pass it around. 20 bottles of sake on the wall," he sang as the three now identified Root Ambu looked towards the drunkard coming their way. The Root Ambu looked at each other and used their Ambu sign language to talk with each other as the one that appeared to be female turned back to Sakumo. Sakumo walked closer and smirked at the female Root Ambu. "Well, darling, it is nice to meet you in this dark and empty hallway. Do you come here often?" he asked her. She slides her hand behind her back, and seconds later she pulled out a kunai and lunged at the drunkard that was walking her way. Using his sake bottle, he caught the tip of the kunai in the mouth of the bottle and pushed it into the wall as it smashed, and she lost her grip on the kunai. Her eyes widened behind her mask as she felt something impact with her stomach. She was feeling pain she had never felt before, and something sharp was being pulled away from her stomach. Looking down at the hand, she saw wolf-like claws being pulled out of the hole that was her stomach once was. Slowly, she looked back up at the man before her and saw his eyes flashing yellow as they looked like wolf eyes as his face and body shifted from man to a wolf-like creature. From behind him came 3 red-eye wolves like hellhounds, growling at the 2 other men in the hallway, threatening the child that just lied behind the door. For the Root Ambu did something smart by closing the door not to wake or frighten the child before they could take them. The 2 male Root Ambu pulled their kunai and attacked the wolf hellhounds. Thinking that the wolves were genjutsu, they were sadly mistaken, as the lead wolf jumped on the man standing next to the wall, ripping out his throat. As the other 2 stopped lowering their heads as they growled at the man, he flew those several hand signs as he cupped his hand in front of his mask where his mouth is and breathed out a large fireball. "Giant fireball jutsu," he cried out. Fear was lacing this man's voice as he didn't know what he was fighting. The hellhounds stood their ground as the ball of flames blew past them. The Root Ambu's eyes grew wide as he saw that the hellhounds just stood there licking their lips as they both jumped at the stunned man. Screams could be heard throughout the house as Kurama ran out of Naruto's room, as he had placed a silent seal on the boy's door, blocking all sound from waking him from his slumber. "What the hell is going on here?" demanded Kurama as he saw the hellhounds feasting on their kills, and Sakumo was biting out the throat of the woman as he threw her body to the hellhounds. "Danzo," growled out Werewolf from of Sakumo, as the others came running down the hallway as well. They all stopped dead in their tracks as they heard the name of the man. They knew they would have to kill to protect the boy from the evils that would ever come from that man. Kurama growled out as he heard the name. "That bastard. I knew he was planning something from the last council meeting." His yoke was bleeding out of him as a crimson aura slowly surrounded him as he was ready to transform into his 9 tails. "Calm yourself, Kurama. You're going to hurt Naruto with your rage," said Maze in a sickly, calm voice. This stopped the chakra beast to pause and look over to the bedroom door he had came out of. With a deep breath, his aura faded and slowly nodded his head to the demon woman. Sakumo grinned with blood dripping from his fangs as he looked at Maze. "It appears it is time to take out the old bastard," he said in a dark, growly voice, as he kept his werewolf from. Trixie walked up to them and held a small grin on her lips. "Time for Operation Mummy Disposal," she questioned them both. Both Maze and Sakumo shared a knowing look. They both looked at Trixie and nodded their heads as the angels just stood there, looking at the trio as they wondered what they were up to. "What is happening?" questioned Emanadiel as he held a confused expression on his face, matching the other 2. Trixie turned to the angels and smiled at them. Lucifer had given us a mission to kill Danzo if he had ever tried taking or hurting Naruto, she told them as she told her adult from, and turned to the other 2. Emanadiel looked on with shock as Azrael felt sick at the idea, even though she was death and had seen many dead bodies. But this just upset her. She didn't know why, But it did. Uriel just shrugged his shoulder at this. He could care less about this man Danzo. He had sowed his own fate with this planned kidnapping. I guess being an archangel he could care less if humans dead or lived. All he cared about was his mission, and that was all that mattered to him. He does love his nephew, but the old man, he didn't care whatsoever. Do what you must, said Uriel as he turned and opened the door of Naruto's room, as he walked into the boy's room and closed the door behind him. But before he closed it, he spoke. I will stay with him tonight to make sure no others come for him while you three, maybe you four, while you take care of the trash. The door closed on his words, and he walked over to the recliner in the corner of the boy's room and sat down and watched his nephew sleep as he was lost in his own thoughts. This child is going to be every special, being human and half angel. Something that hadn't been seen in a very long time, and the last half-breed had gone mad with power at a young age. But in these past 5 years he has done nothing to show he thirst for power, or any of what the last one did. Maybe he is what this world needs, and will bring forth peace that was spoken about from the ancient prophet. He was pulled out of his muse as Amenadiel walked into the bedroom. I know what you are thinking about, brother. I believe Naruto will be different, said Amenadiel as he trailed off as he looked over at the sleeping form of Naruto. I know. He is. I believe he might be the one that the ancient prophets that would counsel father, said Uriel, as he was there in the chamber along with Lucifer, when the ancient prophets would speak in tongue about. Amenadiel nodded his head to his brother's words. I know, I was there for a few of them, he said as he placed his large hand on Naruto's black hair, and gentle ran his fingers through the boy's locks. Azrael looked at the door where her brothers had vanished behind and turned to the three before her. I will stand watch out here while you are gone, she told them. They nodded their heads as they turned to Kurama. Are you coming with us? Asked Sakumo. Shaking his head, no, Kurama spoke. I am not able to go. The base is too far, and I would lose control over my power, he told them as he sat down in the hallway and looked up with a sad expression on his face. The three nodded their heads as they vanished down the dark hallway to go have an old bastard meet his end. Maze vanished into her bedroom and changed into a tight black leather outfit and sealed away all her fun toys. As Trixie followed suit and vanished into her room and changed into black leather pants and black tank top, with a studded belt with leather gloves, with 1-inch spike on her knuckles. She as well quickly sealed away her weapons as well. Sakumo stood leaning next to the front door. He already had all his weapons and he was going to have fun with Danzo before he killed the mummy of a man. He stood straight as he saw his two friends and demons. About time you two got dressed, he told them both with a smirk on his face. Maze smirked at him. Using her left hand, she cupped his face and gently slapped it. Oh, Sakumo, you know I have to look good for you, she told him as she walked past him as she swayed her hips as she walked past. He just smirked as he bowed, allowing Trixie to pass him as the girl giggled at him. You two should just hook up and get it over with, she told him as she ran away from him laughing as he tried to catch the girl into a bear hug. Danzo's root base. Danzo as he sat at his office desk as he looked over the missions he would be assigning to his agents. He glanced over at the clock on his wall. It was already 2 a.m. and his team had yet to return from bring him his prize. They should have been back by now. Those fools watching over the boy shouldn't have given them that much trouble, he said to himself as he placed down a file labeled Uchiha. Just then, he heard a knock at his office door. A smirk slowly crossed his lips as he was finally going to reap his reward. Just then the door opened and a body flew past his head and crashed into the concrete wall with a sickling, crushing sound. as the body slowly slid down the wall. There in the doorway stood a wolf-like beast standing on its hind legs. His single eye opens wide with shock. "QB," he quietly questions to only himself. The wolf beast stepped into the man's office and was followed behind by two women. One he knew as May's Namakaz, but the second one he didn't know. But there was something in her eyes that he knew he saw before, but where he didn't know. The beast spoke in a growled voice. "This bastard is mine. He will pay for what he did tonight and what he did to me so long ago," he told the two behind him. Maze just nodded her head as Trixie stood back, crossing her arms with a childish smile as she shifted back to her child form. This made Danzo's eye to widen. For now, he knew who this girl was, and if he could get his hands on her, she would be very valuable to him and his plans to take over the village, along with the other hidden villages he had his single eye on. "So, the QB has finally taken over the boy?" asked Danzo as he glared, standing up from his desk and his chair falling behind him. A laugh escaped the beast mouth. "You damn fool! I am not the QB. I was one you murdered, for you saw me too weak to defend this village. For I scraped my mission to save the lives of my comrades for death. For that you made it look like I commend suicide. Where my young son was the one to find my body," he told the bastard before him. There was only one man that he had done that to. That man was known as the White Fang Sakumo Hatak. But this beast couldn't be that man, for he was long dead. The beast before him smirked as four hellhounds came walking him and stood side by side with their master, with arms or other body parts in their mouths. "Yes, Danzo, it's me, Sakumo Hatak," said Sakumo, as he transformed into this original self, and then back to his werewolf form. "But how are you alive?" "I killed you myself," said Danzo with fear lightly lacing his voice. A man who was proud of himself for not showing emotions like fear since he was a young man. Now that pride was gone, it was all over the floor as he pissed himself. Sakumo smirked as he licked his huge fangs as he fell onto all fours as he slowly stalked his prey, only to wrinkle its nose to the smell of the old man's foul piss. "Ah, Danzo, you're taking all the fun out of this. I thought you would put up more of a fight for me and not act like a feeble old man before me," he said in a deep and dark voice with a guttural laugh. Danzo reached for his walking cane. Hidden within the shaft of the cane was a long, sharp blade. He pulled the blade out and tried to swing it at the werewolf before him. But sadly, the blade shattered in Sakumo's mouth as it fell to the floor in many tiny pieces. Before Danzo ever knew it, his head was in the mighty jaw of Sakumo as he bit down, ripping the head from the stump of a neck as the body fell over, still moving, trying to crawl away. As that was the last action the old man was doing before, he was gone to become a pile of hellhound shit as Sakumo spit the head out of his mouth to his hounds. Trixie chose this time to speak up. "I found several rooms with children locked up in groups of 6. I believe there are about 60 kids in total. It looks like he was trying to restock his ranks with them. Many told me they are orphans, and several have also told me that he kidnapped them from their clans," she told Maze and Sakumo as he turned back into the new form of the man he is now. He was cleaning his mouth with a towel he pulled out of nowhere. "Well, it looks like we have a small problem here then," said Maze as she looked over at Sakumo. The tall man just nodded his head. For this little piece of information, they would have to inform the Hawkage. With a sigh, Sakumo turned to the doorway. "Let's gather up the children and head to the Hawkage Tower and wake that old fool's ass up," he said as he vanished into the hallway, as his hellhounds were busy cleaning up the bodies of all the root agents. Trixie just smiled as she just skipped down the hallway after the man as Maze turned around and crouched down and looked at Danzo's head. She was going to be need this. So, he quickly pulled out a storage scroll and sealed the old bastard's head away, and looked over at his desk and began sealing away all his files, for she was going to be need this to have some type of upper hand. After 45 minutes, all 60 children, and 3 adults, well, 2 and 1 child, they slowly made their way to the center of the village. Several small kids held their teddy bears or held the hands of the other child as some cried and sniffed. This caught the ears of several Ambu as Eno and Weasel appear before the group. Sakumo stopped while he was holding a little girl with pale eyes in his arms. This little girl was the heiress of the Hyuga clan that had gone missing earlier this week, and next to them was several other clan heirs that had gone missing as well over the month. Naruto was going to be the final clan heir that was going to be kidnapped and brainwashed, and then returned as they had been lost in the vast woods surrounding the village. Eno's eyes widened as he saw who the man was carrying. "Where have you found all those children?" he demanded as Weasel pulled out a kunai ready to fight the man for his little brother, who was sitting on the man's shoulders. "I will explain once we get to the Hokage-sama's office, for I do not wish to repeat myself. If you need to get several medics and the parents of the clan children here," said Sakumo with authority in his voice. Both young men nodded their heads and vanished as the group conditioned their track to the old tower. There, standing outside of the tower, were about 20 Ambu medics. Their eyes widened in fear as they saw the shape of how the children were in. "Let's get them out of this cold air and into the office. There you can look them over in better lighting and take them to the hospital for those who need it," said Maze as she was holding a young blonde-haired girl in her arms. "Hi, ma'am," they said as one. They entered the building as they began hearing running footsteps coming their way. Shaking it off, they made it into the Hokage's office as the doors were thrown off the hinges as all the parents of the clan head's children. Behind them was the Hokage looking at them with shock in his eyes. "What is happening here? And what is this about missing children?" he questions as he pushed past the parents as the medics looked over the children and tried to take the children away from their parents for just a few moments just to check on them. Maze stepped out of the shadow and turned to the old man. "Hokage-sama, we have to talk to you about something that happened tonight, as we hoped that we wouldn't be punished too much for our acts that happened when we were in an angered state of mind," she told him as everyone turned to look at her with a puzzled expression on their faces. "What are you talking about, Maze-chan?" Sarutobi asked in a grandfatherly voice. Take took out a scroll and walked over to the old man's desk as he sat down and opened the scroll and channeled chakra into it, and the head of Danzo popped out before him. His eyes widened, as well as those who saw this. The children couldn't see what was happening, for everyone was blocking them from the gruesome sight that was on the desk. Maze quickly resealed the head before one of the kids could see it. "We killed Danzo tonight, or he sent his little root Anbu after Naruto as he slept," said Maze as she turns to Sakumo. "I heard sounds coming from the hallway down from my bedroom and thought that Naruto woke up, and so I went to check on him, to only find 3 root Anbu standing outside of his room. They were there to take him to their master. So, I played the fool of a drunkard and made quick work of them with the help of my summons," said Sakumo as he smirked slightly. All eyes turned to the man with shock and fear. "Shikaku," Nara studied the man before him. "What summons do you have?" he asked. "Hellhounds," said Sakumo as he grinned at them as 2 hellhounds appeared next to him with flames licking their paws and tails. "These are my summons," he told them as everyone took a step back away from the beast before them. Trixie walked up to the hellhounds and hugged one of them as it licked her cheek. "They are only deadly if you provoke them or their master," she told them as many just looked at her with awe. "Also, Hokage-sama, I have all the files behind all the kidnapping and planned assassination list of several clans and/or clan heads, for several clan elders are not happy with their clan heads," said Maze as she smirked at the Hyuga head and Uchiha heads. The room exploded into an uproar from all the clan heads demanding all this information, so they know who they will be killing for this. Calm yourselves. I will be going over all these files and I will be handing them off the respected clan heads, said Sarutobi. This calmed them down. Hokage-sama, what will happen to the other children? Asked Trixie as she looked at the kidnapped and orphaned children, that they had no clue who their parents are. He looked at all the children and sighed. We will do blood work and see if we can find any family they may have. And I have a feeling some of these children are going to lead to answers of several unsolved murders in and around the village, and several other villages. He told them, but for tonight we will find them all beds and go forward in the morning. Hokage-sama, I and several others will start the blood work on the children and take them to the old hospital and have them stay there for the night and have several others watch over the children, said Hawk as he was holding a little girl with bubblegum pink hair. He nodded his head as several other Ambu appeared in the office and the children slowly begin vanishing from his office, only leaving the clan heads and children and the Namikaze trio. I guess it is pointless in going home, said Sarutobi as he sighed and looked at the files before him. If you would like, Hokage-sama, I can help you with all these files we took from Danzo tonight, said Trixie with a gentle smile. Shikaku sighed. Troublesome. I will help as well. The quicker we can get this taken care of, the sooner we find out who has sold us out to that old bastard. He walked forth and took a sizable stack of files and sat at a desk off in the corner as Trixie took one as well and settled down on the floor next to the old man's desk. It was already 4:30 a.m. in Maze, and Sakuma went home as some of the wives got to work and make tea, coffee, and food for Trio, working hard for them, and as a thank you for the return of their children. End of flashback. Naruto sighed as he saw his Mizuki peeking into the room and looking over at Sasuke, and then over to Naruto. Something doesn't feel right about the way he is looking at us, thought Naruto as Kurama opened his eye looking at what his vessel was looking at. Keep an eye on him for he stinks of snakes, said Kurama. As he looked up at the classroom window, Naruto was sitting at. All right, people, today is the big day, said Iruka as he walks into the classroom as he looked at the fighting fangirls. His head took on a larger frown as he yelled, Shut the hell up and take your sits, you little brat. He yelled, frightened the girls as they ran to their seats. Iruka walked around the room handing out the test as Mizuki sat at their desk and was looking over a clipboard. I'll get Sasuke and Naruto and take them to Master Orochimaru, he thought to himself with a mental smirk to himself. After an hour, all the students handed in their test papers and sat back, chatting as Iruka took his time grading all the papers. He smiled as the clan heirs had done so well. Even the lazy Nara heir did a lot better than expected. It appears that Naruto and Sasuke might be tying for Rookie of the Year. Alright kiddies, let's head outside and get the taijutsu part of the exam over with, said Iruka as he led them out the training field behind the academy. Inside the Hokage's office, all the Jonin senseis stood around the Hokage's crystal ball, watching all the kids and seeing who worked best together and who to keep away from each other. Back to the training field where Kurama was woken up by Naruto dropping down next to him. Hey, Rama. Kurama opened his eye and looks over at Naruto and his friends who all sat around him. Hey, kids, he said with a large yawn. Iruka looked over at Naruto's lazy uncle who was always 5 steps behind the young boy. Hello, Kurama-san. Are you here to watch how well young Naruto will do today? He asked the red-headed man. Kurama looked over at the teacher with lazy eyes. Nah? I just fell asleep after dropping the brats all off, he told Iruka, who just sweat dropped at the man before him. Alright brats, listen up. You will be facing off against Mizuki. You must last 5 minutes in the ring with him or knock him out of it. If you are knocked out of the ring, you will only get half of 30 points, and if you knock him out or KO, you will get 20 bonus points," said Iruka as he looked at all his students. Naruto's smirk along with Sasuke was sitting in the tree away from his rabid fangirls. Maze and Trixie had long ago scared Naruto's fangirls from following him home and trying to kidnap him, but was a memory for another time. Naruto snapped out of his thoughts as he looked Mizuki over. "Yeah, I really don't want him touching me in our spar," he told Kurama as he looked over at his uncle. "I'll see what I can do when it comes to your turn," said Kurama with a glare, an oddly evil smirk mixed together. Naruto just nodded his head and relaxed back against the tree. Ino, Shikamaru, and Hinata just shared a look. They had always found it weak how those two could talk without saying a word or really look at each other. The three girls just sighed at their antics and shook their heads, and turned back to the spars going on before them. Many of the civilian girls went flying out of the ring within 30 seconds of entering the ring. At least he is doing his job and showing them that they need to get stronger to make it out in the field, or just would be stains in the background to those who will making it in the real world. So far, for all the clan children had gotten their full points, where they stood their own against the Shunin. After that night, they had been returned home. Their parents had gone overboard in training them and pushing them to over their limits, and made sure by time they left the academy, they all would be low Chunin or high Genin, just depend on what skills the kids needed to learn from their clans. This had also frightened Jiraiya, who had the boy sign the Toad contract the second he returns to the village from his mission. Along with the Toad contract, Naruto also got his mother's contract with Arctic Wolf Pack and Dire Wolf Pack. Holding these three contracts helped the boy enter Sage Mode by the time he was 12 years old, for each summons. He spent more time with the wolf summons, for they helped in training and tracking and hunting, while he spent time with the toads to hear stories about his father and learn several sealing and several other things. But on his 15th birthday, Naruto had gotten into a drinking contest with all three boss summons, and to the displeasure of Kurama. Naruto had won, but Kurama made him pay for it for about 3 days. He learned the next day that hangovers were a bitch, and wouldn't drink again until he was much older, and Kurama has fun reminding him each time when the three bosses wanting rematches. Naruto, Uzumaki Namikaze? Naruto looked over at Kurama, as Kurama stood up from where he was laying down. "I'll take Mizuki's place. He must be tried from dealing with all those brats," he said with a smirk.